Mathis, how are you doing today?
Um, okay, not too well.
Why do you say not too well today?
It's kind of confusing to me. Why am I here?
Do
Why
you,
am I here?
why do you think you're here today?
I think the caseworker mentioned that this is part of the reunification. This is something I need to do in order to reunify with my daughter, like get back with my daughters, get them back in my custody, get them back in my home.
Can you tell me about the situation that occurred?
Well, yeah, I'm like, I heard voices in my head, and after hearing the voices were telling me to hit my daughter, so all I remember is that I did. I was hitting them, and the next day they went to school, and when they went to school, I got a call like halfway through the day and telling me that if I could please come to the school because it is urgent for me to come to the school. So I went, and I was greeted by a caseworker, someone that I've never seen. She took me into a room, and we started talking. She started introducing herself. She's like who she is, who she works for, and then she started telling me that why she was called in, why I was called in, and she started showing me pictures of my daughters with bruises and marks in their body. And I just remember looking at them, and I feel like everything was going so fast, and I just didn't know what was going on. And all I remember is that I had this feeling of like, oh my god, like how could I have done that? You know, these are my daughters, and I felt so bad.
Okay, so I'm sure that was an experience for you. And I heard that you mentioned that you hear voices.
Yeah.
Can you maybe elaborate on what happens once you hear those voices?
All I know is that that day I heard the voices. I was very angry. I felt that this voice was telling me that, well, the voice told me to hit my daughter, so I did. I felt that, this is the voice coming from my brain, and my brain's telling me this is what I have to do because this is not right. I was very angry. I really don't remember a lot of what it was saying to me. All I know is that I was angry, and afterwards I was really sweaty, like, and then my daughters looked scared of me, and I didn't know what happened. I just know I heard them, and I know I did what they told me to do.
You did what the voices told you to do?
Yes, because that's me. That's my inner thought telling me what to do.
And do you take any kind of medication for that?
No, I didn't, but then like now I have to. The caseworker called my doctor, so I was taken to a hospital that day, and I was in there like getting a psych evaluation. Since I was perfectly fine, I wasn't in there for too long. But my caseworker, my doctor found out that I wasn't taking my medication, and so now that day they were like telling me I need to take them, that it's important, and that if I would have taken them, I would not have had my daughters.
Okay. So you did have an assessment, a psychiatric assessment.
Yeah,
actually. Okay.
I had that done.
Okay. So where are your daughters right now?
Well, that day before we left to the hospital, the caseworker asked me who I wanted to take them. Who did I want? Or who could they stay with? Because they couldn't stay with me because she still wasn't unsure if I was going to be able to, if I was too safe, or if I was going to harm them again. So we called my mom, and my mom took the girls, so they're with my mom right now.
They're with your mom?
Yes, they're
okay.
with my mom.
And as far as the medication is going, have you started taking your medication?
I did. I did take some recently. I'm supposed to take them now. Like, I'm supposed to take them all the time.
Okay, I understand. Okay, well, it seems that can be a frightful and confusing situation.
It was. It was very, like, I didn't know, like, what was going on, and I just remember that day. I felt like I was the worst parent.
And you felt like the worst parent because of the situation?
Yeah, I hate my girls. I can't believe I hate them.
Okay, well, you're here now, and we are going to discuss, ways to keep you on track with your medications. So, thank you.
So can you tell me what's been going on lately?
Yes, as you know my situation, and I feel like this all started after the birth of my youngest child, Devin. I just felt like everything started falling apart, not because of her birth, but because that's when all my episodes started, and my schizophrenic episodes, and that's whenever my husband left me, and I had to care for my children by myself, and it's just been really hard since then.
So you feel like things got really rocky after Devin was born.
Yes, and I just feel like they continue to, just keep giving me problems and things. Not my children, but just in general life. Like I said, my episodes don't help. My house right now is in need of a lot of repairs. My landlord, I'm afraid to discuss that with him because I feel like he will evict me or kick us out.
So it sounds like you have a lot of negative things going on, and it sounds like you have a lot going on in general, and those are definitely causing stress in your life. And we'll talk about those in the next sessions whenever we meet. But right now, what I would like you to do is focus on some of your strengths. Maybe we can identify some of those. Do you have any say on what the aspects positive of your life would be?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my house is in need of repairs, but I do maintain a clean house. My husband, he doesn't pay me child support all the time on time, um, but he does pay, so that is helpful sometimes. Um, and I mean, my schizophrenia doesn't help because that's just a big burden on myself, and I feel like it's a burden on my children because they have to deal with the things that happen. Like for instance, what just happened when I hit them because of that. And
Let's refocus on the good. So, what else would you say besides you have both your daughters? What else would you say is good?
oh well, my daughters. Now that you mention them, I do care about them, and they are doing very good in school. Besides, everything bad that's happened, they are doing very well in school. They maintain A's, and I noticed Devin sometimes doesn't have good self-esteem, but she does do good in school, so I'm very proud of her.
So you managed to raise close and independent daughters that can take care of themselves. Those are all definitely good things, and things that we're going to use throughout your therapy to help you get your children back, which is what you want to do, right?
Yes, yes. I really do. I do know that there's been a lot of negative, like what I just told you, but I do see the positive in it. Like you made me really see the positive in my situation and realize that I can get help, for this and for my daughters. So
We'll focus on that, and we'll keep moving forward, and see where it goes from here.
And I could just create magic and make your world a reality, what would be the first thing you would want to change?
I want to have my family back. The way it was, like right when Devin was born, and I wasn't sick, and I had my husband, I had my daughters, I was healthy, and everything was okay. Everything was good.
Okay, so if I was to sprinkle my wand, you would want to start with going back to when you had a whole family. Your husband, Devin was born, you had Denise, and you felt healthy. You didn't have any episodes, and your husband didn't have to take care of you and Devin.
Right.
Okay. And why do you want to go all the way back? Like,
I just feel like things are so crazy right now. Like, my husband, I mean, he's not even a part of our family. Like, he barely pays child support, and, like, back then it just felt like things were good. Like, I was healthy, like, I didn't have these crazy episodes, I didn't hurt my daughters, like, I was a good mom, like, things were good.
okay, so I want to touch on what you said. When you were a good mom. So do you feel you're not a good mom now?
I mean, I can be a good mom sometimes. It's just that when I hit my children and I hurt them, like a mother shouldn't do that to their children, and it makes me feel terrible. It does make me feel like a bad mom, like when those things happen.
Okay, so I hear that you feel like a bad mom, and you describing what happened to you as terrible. That you were a terrible person. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. And can I ask you how you feel now?
I feel like things are getting better. I mean, I guess I'm getting better as far as like, getting help and talking to you, and I'm working on being a better mom, and
still have the thought of that you're terrible, or do you, with what you just mentioned, do you feel like you still think that way?
I wouldn't say I'm terrible. I'm not a terrible person. I do try, and I'm getting help, and I think, that's good. Like, I'm getting better. I'm not terrible, but I'm not great.
So you changed that thought of when we just started talking about you as a mom, you said that you felt terrible, and now you see yourself as not being terrible, like you're going up little by little, and that you're getting help. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're not terrible, and you're not a terrible mother.
Right.
So I'm glad you say that, and I hope you can change those thoughts where you have a thought that says I'm a terrible mom, which I hope you don't have them anymore, but occasionally we tend to think back or regress back to what we used to think, right?
Yes.
So I hope that you can think about that, of what you just said, and remind yourself, I am not terrible. I just told me you're not as well, so that's great. I hope that you can take yourself out from that terrible part and keep going on forward. Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. Another thing I want to talk about, you mentioned your husband when we talked about the magic trick that we had to do magic. You want your husband back, and then you kept talking about your husband again. So I've heard your husband twice. Okay. Do you want to talk about your husband?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, he was the man that I loved. He was the father of my children. At first when I did get sick, he took care of me, and like I was sick and I couldn't take care of the girls, and he really stepped up and he took care of them too. And I thought things were good, and he helped provide for our family. So like we didn't have the issues that we have now with money and like trying to make ends meet. Like things are really good, and he
Okay.
was a good man.
So I'm going to stop you. I hear that you said he was a good man. He was able to help you out a lot when you felt down. He was able to help you out with the girls. And then you said something about financial. He was able to provide some financial security, correct? And you don't talk to him now.
No, he doesn't talk to us.
Okay. Have you thought of ever contacting him yourself?
I've wanted to, but I know that I think he's disappointed in me for getting sick, and I felt like he didn't care.
Okay, so I know you think that way, but this is my suggestion to you. During this week, I would like for you to contact him. Okay? I want you to contact him because we don't know yet if he is disappointed in you. That's your thought. So how about we try it? It might not happen this week, but I really would like for you to kind of get some courage and contact him. Do you think you're comfortable with that, or is that rushing it?
I mean, I think I can contact him.
So you feel comfortable that you can call and dial?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you know what you're gonna first tell him when you contact him?
I mean, I guess I could start just kind of by telling him how the girls are doing and ask how he's been, small talk.
Okay, that's good. So if you're comfortable, I hear you saying you're comfortable. I hear you have a plan on how you're gonna start the conversation. Okay. Do you would like to role play? Do you think role playing would help you?
Yeah. Okay, hi Mrs. Matthews. Today we brought in your daughter Devin. I wanted to work with you guys, kind of, helping you work through everything that happened and building on your relationship. And so today I would like to try a little game. Devin, if you would, I want you to think of how you felt the day that the incident occurred with your mom hitting you. And I want you to create a pose, kind of like a statue, and freeze. And Mrs. Matthews, I want you to observe her and to think about how you think that Devin felt that day.
Oh.
So Devin, if you could create a pose.
I remember getting hit, and then I remember that it just started hurting, and I was crying. Okay, look at it.
Okay. So Mrs. Matthews, based on Devin's posture, how do you think that she felt at that time?
She just seems scared and just closed off to everyone and just afraid of everything, which is why looks like she's just like in a ball. She's scared, so.
Okay. Devin, you can get up now, and you can go ahead and sit back down for me. So, can you tell your mom a little bit about the pose that you made and the feelings that you had at that time?
Well, I was crying that day, so I kind of didn't want my sister to think that I was crying because I didn't want her to feel bad, and I was kind of mad also. So it's more like I didn't want to say anything that I might get hurt even more, or that my sister would be like kind of scold me or anything. So
now that Devin is telling you how she felt that day, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel hurt and sad that I made my daughter feel that way and feel scared and just afraid of me.
So now that we've both said how both of you feel about the situation, Devin, is there anything that you would like to say to your mom about the situation?
It's just, I'm sorry that I was angry at you. Because, I didn't know what you were doing or what you were thinking or why you being that way. But now that, me and my sister are going to group counseling and we hear other kids and in the counseling classes what's going on with you when that happens, I kind of feel like I'm sorry that I was angry at you. And I just wanted to say I'm sorry because I didn't know, like, I just thought you didn't like me and that you were hating me because everything that happened was my fault. But I'm learning that that's not my fault, and you told me that's not my fault either.
Mrs. Matthews, what would you like to say to Devin?
I just want to tell you that it's never going to be your fault that I have an illness, and I am glad that you do understand and have been working with the therapist to understand my illness, and you do not have to be sorry for anything that I have done to you, and I am actually the one who is sorry for the things that have happened. I do care about you, and I do love you very much, and I just want you to know that I care about you and your sister very much.
Well, thank you both. I think that was really good that you both, got to tell each other how you really feel. So, Devin, what would you like to see happen to the relationship between you and your mother?
I don't know, I don't want to feel like it's all my fault anymore, and I hope I don't have to feel that way anymore, because I know that you hit us, it wasn't because you wanted to, but I understand that sometimes you can't control your mind and what you think or what goes through what happens to you, but I just don't want to feel, I don't want to feel angry at her anymore, I don't want her to hit me anymore, I don't want to feel like it's all my fault, and my dad's not with us either.
Mrs. Matthews, can you tell me what you just heard Devin say?
Basically that she just doesn't want what happened to be her fault or feel like it's her fault anymore.
Devin, do you think that's accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mrs. Matthews, what would you like to see happen with you and Devin?
Just for her to continue working with the therapist and myself to know that it's not her fault and to understand my illness and that things, I am working on things to get better and we will continue to work through this together.
Okay. And Mrs. Matthews, I'm sorry, Devin, can you tell me what your mom just said?
That she wants me to keep going to the therapist and that she hopes things get better.
And do you think that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I think we're going to continue doing activities like this together and continue to build communication between the both of you and work on your relationship.